Anime Death Spiral, the only anime podcast clinically proven to increase your testosterone levels. We are back in it. We went through the spring season. Somehow we both ended up not dying. And we even managed to get through a fair amount of anime.
I want to just jump in real quick just to be on the safe side. If you do experience any major change in hormone production, do see a doctor.
You know, we haven't started a Patreon yet, so this really is, if you need your tea and it's legal in your state, this is really the best way to get it. Okay. We watched anime.
Oh boy, did I watch some anime.
I mean, we did have, 3 months to complete. I made it through 6-7 shows, I think.
Hey,
in 3 months.
Just like my career from my education career from middle school through college, I got through just fine by doing it all at once at the last minute.
Yes, way to cram.
Yeah, cram
you got
school.
it in.
Anime cram school. That's a new name of this podcast.
Well, that'll be our bonus episodes. We could call that.
Ooh, good idea.
You unfortunately didn't make it in. I have to say you did not squeak in under the wire because summer season did start like 2 weeks ago.
I am fashionably late.
Yeah, you will be getting at least a full letter grade down for turning your work in late.
I mustered my strength. I pulled through in the end. I blended them all up, and I injected, I think I got through 6 shows. It went straight into my veins.
It was grueling. I mean, truly torturous, but we did it.
It wasn't actually that bad. I liked most of them. I've got a lot of positive things to say. Some less than positive things to say about a show that you might not expect. Stay tuned.
Wow. Damn, what a tease. I was going to say, we are about 2 weeks late. We were going to talk about some of this stuff last week, but of course the Anime Expo stuff kind of stepped all over it.
Because you did have to travel physically to be at Anime Expo in person. Just establishing that.
Of course. Want to reestablish that. Go back for that one. It was really important to double dip on that.
Nice ending.
It's extremely important that we stay up to date on all anime announcements, because I know you get you sit on the edge of your seat waiting for announcements directly from our mouths.
It's true. I do hope that you trust us enough to have that level of anticipation.
Yeah, and I felt the heavy weight of responsibility to accurately. You know that there is the death of journalism. It's much talked about these days. So we want you to know there is at least one place left that you can trust for your anime news. But we finally wrapped up spring, and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about some of these shows. If you haven't caught up, well. Too bad.
So there was a handful of shows that came out in spring. I think we got through a decent amount, I would say.
Yeah, let's start by comparing the lists of what we went through. I watched Hell's Paradise. Did you watch Hell's Paradise?
I did watch Hell's Paradise, and I also, as a bonus, continued on and read all of the manga because I could not stop.
Yeah, it kicks ass.
Yeah.
We'll get into it. I watched Tengoku daimakyo. Did you watch Tengoku daimakyo?
I did. That one's fresh in my mind. Just watched that a couple days ago. Loved it. Got a lot to say. Big old meaty slap of anime, that one.
Excellent. I watched Mashle. Did you watch Mashle?
Did not.
Skipped over
Saw the premise. Harry Potter, but muscles. Maybe I'll go back for that in the future. We'll get into that. But did not watch it, no.
I watched why Raeliana ended up in the Duke's mansion. Did you watch Raeliana?
I watched one episode. I think we talked about it when it first premiered, way back when, at the start of spring. Did not get hooked.
We've mentioned it a couple times in the isekai perspective. I watched Dangers in My Heart. Did you watch Dangers in My Heart?
Not only did I watch it, I just watched it earlier today. So that one is front and center.
Squeaking just over the wire.
Yeah.
Couldn't make it under. I watched almost all of Oshi no Ko. Did you watch Oshi no Ko?
Yeah, I did watch all of Oshi no Ko. There were only 11 episodes.
I watched Dead Mount Deathplay. Did you watch Dead Mount Deathplay?
Did not. deathplay.
Was there anything else?
I think I mentioned, I actually talked about it briefly last episode. I watched Skip and Loafer, which is another one that's getting a lot of positive buzz. I won't spend too much time on it because I did already talk about it, but very cute. Loved it. Go watch it. Highly recommend.
Sure. Well, let's just take these one at a time, and we'll go over them. Hell's Paradise. I have read all of the manga. You just said you read all of the manga, so
yes.
We're kind of like already. I guess we're a little biased there because I do think Hell's Paradise, the manga at the very least, is like probably one of the best shonen to come out of like the last decade. Maybe I think it absolutely rules. If you like fighting stuff, it is the perfect package. It is every fucking shonen cliche subverted or manipulated in a more interesting way. It brings some incredible visuals that I assure you have seen in nothing else. It is a tight package. It's what, like 100 chapters?
I think maybe even sub 100. I want to say like 98, 99.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a long read. Which I think is also a benefit going into the anime because, no spoilers, but they basically covered up to the midpoint of the manga with these first 12 episodes. So it is going to be a complete story told in what I'm assuming are probably 26 episodes overall, which is a format for anime that I've always enjoyed, a self-contained single-season series.
Yeah, if Mappa ever gets around to doing that second season, not exactly.
You know, this is going straight to the top of their to-do list. It's doing good.
I think so. It seemed like it was pretty popular. What did you think about the anime?
I liked it, so I have a interesting history with how I consumed Hell's Paradise, because you way back when gave it to me as part of a one chapter compilation of different series to just go and read the first chapter of everything, and I read that, and I read all of the manga first, right before the first episode of the anime came out. And so
cramming. This is becoming a trend.
Yeah. No, not cramming. That was genuine enthusiasm. I read everything from that list and then continued on with Hell's Paradise because I liked it so much.
Oh, okay.
And then it just happened to be right before the anime premiered. And so I watched the first episode way back when it came out, and then I kind of crammed the rest the last couple of days. I liked it. Mappa, hitting it out of the park, so hot right now, doing some real cool stuff with animation. It did have some adaptations, I would say, from page to screen that kind of either, I don't know, recontextualize how I interpreted like the flow of combat and plot
of events.
Yeah, just the events in general in the show. Again, the one thing that really struck me when I read that series is by the end, you really have to struggle to remember that the entire thing takes place over the course of like 4 days for the characters.
Yes.
It is a roller coaster of a story.
Yeah, it is definitely like maybe less than a week.
Yeah. It is not a long time. But the way that battles and dialogue and just everything is paced out, obviously that combined with the way the chapters for the manga were released, it gives the impression of taking place over a much longer time, which honestly I think also benefits the theme of the story because it's taking place in this kind of like mystical not reality realm, right?
Yeah, sort of like a time dilation, bizarre other space kind of thing.
Yeah, it gives you a real sense that they were, pardon the use of the term, spirited away the moment they got to the island.
Oh, I don't pardon you for that.
Yep, no, I threw it in there, baby.
So the thing for me, I think, obviously, massive amounts of enthusiasm. Like I said, I really love Hell's Paradise. I think I was a little, I got a little down on it before it kind of found its footing. I think like the first 4 or 5 episodes really are kind of choppy. I found the pacing to be bizarre. The way it would chop up action like episode to episode, I thought was really strange. And I have sympathy because like I think some of those things are like just really really difficult to do. Like comparing a 25-minute cartoon to like a 15-page comic book. It's difficult. Yeah,
Right.
I get it, you guys. But there was also like especially compared to some of the other Mappa stuff, translations, adaptations that they've been doing recently. I just felt that there was sort of a jerkiness to it. Also, some of the animation ended up being pretty. I don't want to say slideshow, but there were definitely some choices made as to where to put money.
Well,
You know what
okay.
I mean?
I was just about to say that they were obviously working on this and Chainsaw Man at the same time, and you can see really where the effort went in the end. But I don't think that Hell's Paradise looks bad by any account. It doesn't look as slick as, say, Chainsaw Man did. As for the adaptation of what cut from the script and editing the overall flow of the story, that I would say they did better with Chainsaw Man, but I think it worked. I didn't have a bad time watching Hell's Paradise.
No, absolutely not. I think that part it freaked me out a little bit at the beginning because I was like, I don't know what's happening here. Are we gonna pick it up? And I think they did. I think by the time the season ended, especially the last couple episodes, I don't think it's a huge spoiler to say that we wrapped up this season with a boss fight. I thought it was really really good.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things, and you see it in a lot of shows where hey, first 2 episodes, damn, there's some animation. And then we kind of lull for a little while, and then animation starts picking up again before we dip out. I'm overall very, very positive. I think they did a really good job. I think we probably are going to get a season 2 just off of how horny I think people ended up being about Yuzuriha. Yuzuriha?
Well, she's got that frog mouth.
Yeah, female ninja. I've been seeing a little bit too much online, but I think that alone might propel. If enough people buy horny statues of her, I think we are definitely going to see a season 2.
I think I looked it up before we started recording. They already announced a season 2. It already got it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Hell yeah! I hope the popularity means that season 2 gets even more animation, more frames. Give me more frames.
In fact, I'm just going to throw this out there. Almost every show that we watched, definitely all the ones that I watched, all got renewed for second seasons already.
Damn, dude. What a successful season. Spring is killing it, man.
It really is, if you think about it. There's a lot popping off, a lot more than winter.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's get through these. I'm gonna do Mashle. You didn't watch this one. You said you kind of liked. I remember you being kind of positive about the premise when we talked about it originally.
It sounds funny.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. This is me being my totally honest, absolute worst self. Didn't care for the art.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, what a killer.
I know, right? I'm pretty much the worst.
Yeah. No, I say that all the time. It's funny because
he does.
I do say that all the time.
In front of my parents, in front of my wife, all of our other friends. He's saying it all the time.
I really like the art in the manga. Now, the problem, I think, is that it doesn't translate particularly well to an anime. I'm just not sure about how it ended up looking in motion. And I will say, it's not just the art style, but, like, I think the comedy doesn't translate very well into motion. You know, like we talked about before, but, like, physical comedy, you know, so dependent on timing, and you'd think like, oh, animation, hey, they're doing frame by frame, you should be able to nail the timing, but I feel like they didn't. I don't know. It was strange. I found the comic really funny, and I felt like the exact same jokes told in the anime didn't work as much. Also, opener pretty fine, but the ending song, not a banger, not good. Fucking weird.
Never good when there's a bad ED. Now, let me ask you this about what you were just talking about, but like
Sure.
the humor translating from the comic to the anime. Would you say it's because is a lot of the humor like based off of playing like a ridiculous situation very straight? Am I getting that right? Like he's a muscle dude at a wizard school, and he beats all the wizards with muscles.
Sometimes, not always. I think a lot of the humor comes from, like, you know, these characters, everyone around him being deadly serious about really stupid magic shit, and every time magic comes into contact with him, it is basically like, oh, magic is completely inferior to Mashle. Magic is constantly talked up as you know, the be-all, end-all of the entire world, and magic is literally nothing compared to Mashle. He is the fucking Terminator, the juggernaut in this world. He walks forward, and there is nothing to stop him. And that's where a lot of the humor comes from, right? Is people like, oh, I have the power to control time. I have the power to turn people into magic puppets. I have the power to, like, manipulate people's brains and their memories. And Mashle's like, I don't fucking care. That's where a lot of the humor comes from. But I think a lot of the actual, like, visual gags and puns and stuff rely on a pretty conventional page turn, you know? And it's just, I think that's hard to do in an anime. And I felt like that's why. It's hard to, you know, you don't want to, as they say, dissect the frog. But, like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's hard to say. I just felt like the manga I still have a lot of affection for. I don't know about the anime, though. I think it some of the jokes land, but for the most part, I feel like I don't know.
I had a whole theory forming in my head about maybe it's like because they're trying to play the jokes in motion, make them come off as too earnest and therefore cringe worthy as opposed to funny, like seeing them on a static page. But One Punch Man was able to do it. But famously, One Punch Man season 1 is about as good as it gets.
Yeah. It's no One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Even if it hits a lot of the same beats. I still like the manga, though. I think the manga's great. There's lots of good jokes in there. Okay. That's enough about something we didn't like very much. Let's talk about Dangers in My Heart.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about it.
Hell yeah.
All right. Dangers in My Heart is the story of names Kyotaro Ichikawa and Ana Yamada, two middle schoolers. Kyotaro is a introverted little weirdo who fantasizes about killing his classmates.
He's a weird little dude.
To use the common parlance, he is a weird little edgelord, but that is tempered by the fact that like any good rom-com protagonist these days, he has crippling social anxiety that prevents him from constantly embarrassing himself even further in front of all of his classmates.
Though he tends to do that quite a lot in this season.
Yeah.
More and more. Which is a sign of personal growth, just like it was in my life.
And Ana Yamada is his classmate, who is a, for lack of a better term, drawn as a full-grown adult amongst a group of 13-year-olds.
Yes, I suppose so. Yes.
Also, she's like a working magazine photo model.
Yeah, she's
Again,
she's a
again,
magazine model.
sus for a 13-year-old in middle school.
She's also on television.
Yep.
She does TV spots.
She's an actress, and there's even I'm not even call it a B plot, a C plot in one of the episodes where she's excited about getting a background part in a movie.
Yeah. It's very cute.
In contrast, Kyoutaro is drawn like a little itty bitty baby boy.
Yes. So we have short guy, tall girl. That's pretty much, and this is, like I mentioned before, this is its own subgenre of rom-com.
I mean, listen, like any person whose opinions are like good and healthy and objectively true, tall women are great. I'm not objecting to that at all. It is the age of the characters that is really thrown me off.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying short girls are not great?
Whoa, don't you be putting words in my mouth, mister.
I can't believe this. I can't believe he would out himself like this. Personally, I think all women are great.
Oh, that's because you're one of the good ones, Remy.
Especially the girl listening to this.
Don't think there are any.
Oh, God. I'm going to say it right now, right up front. This is maybe one of my favorite anime rom-coms and manga rom-coms ever.
Okay, don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed it. And yes, it is probably, without going into this list further, number 3 on my spring lineup recommendation chart.
Okay. I want to say there is a thing, especially, we talk a lot because we've actually read a lot of these things, or at least I have most of these things. And I want to say specifically about Dangers in My Heart, it is fairly faithful to the manga, but there are adaptational moves that I really, really appreciated. And this is not something that doesn't happen a lot. Like we talked about Hell's Paradise and Mashle, and I would say those, even though Mashle kind of did some weird translational things, those are very faithful to the manga. And besides, creating movement and fight scenes and stuff, it pretty much sticks to the source material. And Dangers in My Heart does it for the most part as well. But there are little moments, and these are the things that I think make anime itself. Like, if you are going to do adaptations, I think this is what elevates them. Maybe you'll notice this too, but every episode ends with the title card.
Yes, I like that.
And the title card is inserted with a sort of dramatic musical sting and swell. And the title card itself is often used to recontextualize the actual action of the episode, which is such a small detail, but the way it elevates the emotional stakes of every single episode is so fucking brilliant. It's like, oh, there was an actual smart person making this. They thought about what they were doing.
There was some great direction, I absolutely, in this season. I think that they really were able to capture what it's like for two awkward, kids, kind of exploring their feelings for each other. It kind of feels like without. Well, they do kind of get gross with it at a couple points, but not being the grossest I've ever seen.
No, and I think there's an important distinction to make there, where it is a grossness that is true to the experience of being an incredibly weird, awkward little high school kid. I think there is an emotional honesty and vulnerability to that that is missing. I mean, we talked about rom-com stuff all the time now, and almost all the time we're talking about how the main character is a fucking cardboard cutout, right? And I think the thing about Dangers in My Heart, which is really weird, is that we talk about him being at the beginning of the series, sort of this awkward little edgelord who's...
Well, okay, so his main trait at the very beginning of the series, is that he fantasizes about about being a serial killer who kills his classmates because they all annoy him so much. He's got the what do they call it? The Chuni disease, real bad.
Chunin disease.
Yeah.
A little bit. I think there is a thing to it, and this is what really draws me to this character, and is ironically like what I think when you talk about it is what draws people out of it. It kind of drives them away when you mention it, that putting it in that way.
Well, what I wanted to say real quick is that the story drops that aspect of him very fast. I want to say by episode 3, he's basically no longer talking about that at all, and he's entirely focused on crushing on this girl.
Oh, no, see, I think you're short selling it. What happens is that this isn't just like an aspect of his character that is dropped. This is an aspect of his character that is intentionally evolving as he grows. I think his serial killer obsession, his true crime obsession at the beginning of the series, is a projection of his own discomfort, right? He feels like, and he mentions this a couple times, he when he becomes more aware of his own feelings as he grows and develops as a character, he realizes a lot of his quote-unquote serial killer tendencies is because he feels... and this is a thing I think we could all relate to in high school. He feels that he is being rejected by his peers. He feels like he can't fit in. And so to defend himself, to build that like fucking edgelord barbed wire around his heart, he decides, oh, well, I'm a fucking weirdo. That's why. It's because I'm like a weird serial killer kid. It's actually like I'm incapable of relating to them because I'm like a sociopath. But he's not.
And I mean, we all knew that kid in high school or middle school. I don't think that is a rare occurrence by any means, right?
No, I think he is an incredibly genuine high school kid, unlike a lot of rom-com kids. And I think, unlike a lot of rom-com kids, he grows and evolves, and as he does that, he realizes, like this obsession with this girl, he realizes he has... normal feelings for her that he is misinterpreting, intentionally so, because he doesn't want to get hurt, because he feels like he is incapable of doing normal things and having normal thoughts and feelings. It is a really, really interesting, great layer to his character. He slowly phases that part out of himself, or not even phases, but recontextualizes them into personal growth. I think this is a really, really smart rom-com wrapped in a lot of traditional rom-com cliche stuff.
I mean, that's one thing I did want to bring up is, as far as leaning into cliches, the one, like, if anything turned me off about the series is that it doesn't shy away of, like, from it being another story about like an insular, socially anxious dude who doesn't talk to any of his classmates, who wins over the tall, stunning, charming supermodel in his class by being his like weird, awkward self around her and not being a complete piece of shit at any given chance.
But unlike a lot of these shows, and this, again, I think there is a deeper layer to it, and they actually attempt to address this stuff, she is revealed to be also, in her own way, like, weird and awkward and uncomfortable around other people, too. Except that's a thing he can't recognize at first because he is incapable of thinking of other people as also being like him, being weird and awkward and uncomfortable around people. And... we also get, a more explanation down the road where she actually gives him some shoujo manga that she really likes, and he reads them, and he has a hard time interpreting this, but he is represented basically as the love interest in the shoujo manga, showing us that he is, at least on the surface, a sort of character type that she is fascinated by.
Huh.
which is really smart and interesting way to do that. She specifically says she likes that he is a cat and that he bristles, you know? That's what attracts her to him at first.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum, so if that's what she's into.
Yeah, that's what she's into.
They didn't get too into it. They did do that shoujo manga bit in the anime. I remember that. I don't know if they spent too much time lingering on the content of the actual pages, but I do remember they kind of have a thing going on as a lead-in for season 2, confirmed.
Oh, thank God.
That he has like developed kind of like this alternate personality he talks to when he's alone that is the embodiment of that shoujo character.
Yes, and I really, really love this, and I love where it goes, because he is essentially visualizing the person, his ideal self, the person he wants to be, the person he wants to evolve into, right? That person manifests, and at first he rejects him, and he kind of hates him, but he slowly talks to him and gets to know his own ideal self. This is, I guess, just for the sheer amount of gushing, this might be my favorite show of the season. I really, really like Dangers in My Heart, and I know a lot of people out there do not like it. I know it's getting bad reviews in some other places. I think they're wrong, maybe quite subjectively, but I think, you know, this might be just something that is like shot directly into my heart because I relate so much. You know,
I just wish it wasn't about 13-year-olds, dude.
I think that's perfect. I know, you know, I don't think of them as a particular age. I think of this as more of a generic, like, high school thing.
But they are explicitly in middle school.
Sure, but middle school is high school.
Well, I mean, they are second-year middle schoolers, which is, like, roughly equivalent to 8th graders in the American school system.
No, I don't think that's true.
I just watched this today.
I don't fucking care. I
oh
do
my
not
God.
care. I literally do not care. I
Okay.
don't fucking care.
All right.
I do
All right.
not care.
Moving on.
Do not care at all. Anyway, this show fucking rules.
You should watch
it's
it.
Incredibly good. You should watch it. Okay, let's move on to something we do not like so that we can fucking channel the rage I'm feeling at you right now. Let's Oshi no Ko. I watched most of it. You watched all of it for some reason.
Yeah, I did.
Boy, do we not like that show.
I really was hoping that I mean, okay, we've established I love Kaguya-sama. I am in love with Kaguya-sama. I was really hoping that
I love you and I'm in love with you.
Well, I'm in love with Miyuki. Let's leave it at that. That's
Okay.
all I'm going to say about that.
He's 12 years old, bro.
I
I also want to mention I love instant bullets. The first thing Akasaka did, I think that's really good too. I feel like it's a shame he never got back to doing that. I think it's awesome, but it's all brought us to this Oshi no Ko,
Yes.
a reincarnation anime about being in the entertainment industry as a teenager.
Now, you see, what I was trying to get at earlier is I was really hoping that the murder mystery was going to hook me in, because I love a good murder mystery. I'm not going to lie.
Love a murder mystery.
Love a murder mystery.
Love when a guy dies.
That is not what this show is about.
At least this first season.
Why did Akasaka even bother like including that as part of the narrative? Because he obviously wanted to make a high school drama about two geniuses trying to be idols.
I think honestly, it's because that was too boring.
Well, it is boring. Sorry,
boring.
Oshi no Ko, biggest anime premiere of the last decade, television premiere of the last decade. You're boring.
Well, here's what I'll say. The premiere specifically is not boring. It is fucking bonkers. And this is why I told people, a lot of people, you got to at least watch the first episode, because, man, there is just a lot going on. So much going on that you actually think that there's going to be a lot of stuff happening in this show. No, nothing happens.
Well, okay, so for those who are not longtime listeners of the show or don't know what Oshinoko is, it is the current work from Aka Akasaka about two high schoolers who are idol otaku, who have been reborn as the children of a famous idol who was then murdered, and now as her children, one of them wants to solve her murder, and the other wants to be an idol just like her.
Yeah, their previous lives, according to the people who continue to argue with me on Twitter, don't actually matter, but it is important to mention.
No, it matters.
One of them is a little cancer girl who dies before even 16 years old or something like that. And the other one is her 34-year-old doctor.
Yeah.
Those are the characters that are reincarnated.
Who she had a crush on, by the way.
Sure.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was a thing. Yeah. And to add on top of it, as far as the show is concerned, I haven't read the manga. They still haven't revealed to each other who they were in their previous lives. They just know that they were both reincarnated.
Yeah, I don't think there's any interest in revealing that to each other. And honestly, how fucked up would that be if they actually do?
You tell that to the shippers.
Yeah, well, I do, and they fucking come at me on Twitter. These fucking freaks. Hey, you fucking freaks on Twitter, leave me alone. Jesus Christ.
Hey, send the freaks over to the show's Twitter. Get some buzz going.
Maybe we can get them to hate listen to the show if I keep talking mad shit about Oshinoko.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I kind of thought that the anime would tighten up a lot of the flab that I found reading the manga. I thought, okay, so they know we have a lot of narrative to work with now. They know what is important, what's not important. So let's kind of cut through the bullshit and get to the stuff that's interesting, which is the murder mystery stuff.
Yeah, not according to the people who made the show or the author or apparently the people who like watching the show, because the important stuff is the idol subplot and learning how to be a famous pop star.
Yes, I am extremely baffled at how much time they spend going over the minutia of the Japanese entertainment industry, which again, I will say, I said this the other day, but Boogie Nights, it is not. It really has nothing particularly interesting to even say about the entertainment industry. In fact, I think it's a little naive about the entertainment industry.
Its message is that if you're super smart and super cool, you can game the system to be a famous person. Also, start ahead by being born the child of an already famous person.
Well, basically having industry hookups from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is oh, cool, great. Nepo babies right off the bat. Let's do this shit.
Nepo baby isekai.
Nepo baby isekai, baby. Though no other world. Same world. Except unless you count the glitz and glamour of entertainment industry life as a world us mere mortals will never enter.
Oh, well, you know what they say. It's a whole other world.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, this is so bizarre. It's just bizarre. I really don't know how to sum up my feelings, because there is a part of me that's I would really love to see the version of this in my head.
Yeah, the version of this in your head that you're thinking of is Perfect Blue by Satoshi Kon.
Well, sort of. Yeah, it is definitely, it hews closer to Perfect Blue than it does the reality that we are watching. Well, no, I will say I didn't watch the last two episodes. I couldn't, man. I couldn't. I don't know how you did, to be honest.
I did find myself literally falling asleep by the end of the last episode. So that says about what I think of the series.
Okay, so maybe something really exciting happened in the last 5 minutes.
No.
Okay, well, on that front, I think this dovetails really nicely. Let's move on to one you didn't watch. Deadmount Deathplay. Now this is sort
Necromancer
of a weird one.
Isekai.
A Necromancer reverse Isekai. Our Necromancer, our corpse god, is taken into modern Tokyo and has to deal with all the weird shit that entails. Which turns out to be a very smooth transition for him, I will say. Like he gets a place and a job like day one. He has friends almost immediately, and they're like pretty chill. They're even chill with like him being like an undead necromancer. They're like, that's actually kind of like low key cool, which I would like to think I would have that reaction, but in my heart of hearts, I think I would be terrified.
It's funny because so many isekai, both reverse and standard, boil down to how to be good at capitalism with magic. Like, that's a genre.
Yeah, and what he does is he becomes a fake psychic. That's how he decides to rake in the cash.
Yep. That sounds about right.
Yeah, which is very weird. Now, I have a lot of affection for the manga on this too, but I will admit, as I stuck with it longer and longer, despite having like some really interesting stuff going on with the necromancer side, and I am a sucker for necromancers in general. Shout out to Diablo. I am running necro builds like crazy.
Yeah, he won't shut up about it.
There are also like very interesting and memorable characters who show up quite a lot. I think that there is no shortage of like interesting characters. It's packed to the gills with characters. I mean, this thing is stuffed with fucking characters. Character design is all over this fucking thing. Unfortunately, that stuff like never actually coagulates into an interesting story. It keeps threatening to. It's like it constantly edges you, like, something's about to happen. But it never does.
Categorically, I think that is the worst type of media, is stuff that just kind of threatens to be interesting, but never crosses the barrier.
It is so frustrating. And I've read quite a lot of the manga, way more than they showed in the anime. And it just never really does anything. Now, there is a thing that I think the anime ends up being like not really worth watching. And I think this isn't a huge version why. I think the animation is mostly pretty good. I think the adaptation is pretty faithful. It's fine. But there is a strange thing where in the manga, and this is pretty unique. Tell me if you've like come across this in anything before, but the manga is cut up into regular comic book chapters, and then like every 5 or 6 or so there is a short story, and the short story is written from the perspective of a character who is still in the fantasy land. This is a really interesting narrative device. I really like it.
Okay. That is pretty interesting.
To, like,
I don't think I've encountered anything quite like that. At least not in manga. The first thing that came to mind was something like, like the Sandman series, but that is really more of a collection of short stories that kind of have a vague through line interspersed through them.
Yes. Yes. And to be clear, what I mean is this is like the written word. This is text. These are like book chapters.
Well, okay. When you say that, instantly Watchmen did that. They had text fill-ins of in-world like books and newspaper interviews and manuscripts as bumpers in between chapters.
Yes, I suppose if you think of it as sort of a mixed media approach, it is kind of like Watchmen. But I do have to stress it is like a direct continuation of the narrative.
So you heard it here, folks. Deadmount Deathplay, just like Watchmen.
It's playing around in Watchmen's backyard. That's the most accurate description of Deadmount Deathplay, one of the worst named mangas that's not actually that bad. I was pretty... So I guess, I don't know. I was real lukewarm. I could have watched it. I could have not watched it. I don't feel like I got too much out of it. I didn't hate it either. So that's a real meh out of 10.
Well, they say apathy is worse than hate.
Right, exactly. So let's do the one that I didn't watch, Skip and Loafer. How'd you feel overall?
Really liked it. It is a Just a cute little fish out of water story about a girl from the sticks moving to Tokyo because she wants to be big in government. She wants to...
oh, no.
She is civic-minded. She wants to get into the upper echelons of society so that she can fix rural Japan. That's her big brain goal.
What are her politics?
Hasn't gotten too into it. She got very caught up with the romance aspect of it.
We never got around to her actual ideology. That's great. You know what? We love politicians that don't believe in anything, especially in our rom-coms, don't we, folks?
Well, I think that that's something that we're still learning about the character as she learns, right? Because she knows she wants to be a community leader, but part of the story and part of her character growth through the season and meeting the male romantic lead, who is the titular loafer, I might say.
He is the loafer.
You know, as I mentioned, I think last episode, he's basically the dude, but in anime form.
Sure. You know, I actually tend to dual class as Skip and Loafer, so I think I relate a lot to this comic.
And so she starts off very uptight and kind of like your classic, class president, overly concerned with decorum and hierarchy.
Right.
And,
sort of a Karikano thing.
Yeah, exactly. And she learns to kind of be in the moment a bit more, kind of take in the benefits of knowing a diverse group of friends versus just focusing solely on trying to get ahead socially.
Yeah. Sounds a lot like My Little Monster.
I'm not familiar with that one, but if it's like this, then I'm sure I'd like it.
Yeah, it's instead of being a loafer, he's not the boy in that is not the dude.
Oh wait, is this the one where the guy has his thing is that he has tattoos and piercings?
No, that's Horimiya. I like that.
Oh, that's
one
Horimiya. Okay,
but it's exactly in the same genre.
Okay,
down to like the girl is the same girl in My Little Monster. The girl is also the same girl, but the boy is sort of like very hard to describe. He is a super chill dude who is completely unaware. He's almost I hate to say this, but he's almost like a little autistic in that he can't really like read the room ever. So he is like really weirdly overly familiar with everyone, but he also is incredibly strong and can kick anyone's ass and sometimes just does it. So people are constantly oscillating between like, that's a really cool, friendly dude, and then being terrified of him. And he has a lot of problems dealing with that, and she helps him kind of navigate that after like getting over her own terror of him.
Okay.
Which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, hear that, ladies? Just befriend violent men.
Yeah. You know.
Great message.
He is a chill dude, though. Like, he's never violent with her, and he's never does it, unwarranted. It's just that, if somebody fucks with him, it's like, oh, just out of sight, and then when he kicks the guy's ass, like, the whole class looks out the window and sees it. You know, that kind of thing.
Sure.
My Little Monster, worth reading. It's fun. But this sounds fun, too.
Yeah, I will say there is one hook to the plot that kind of provides the tension to the overall story, and that is the male lead, used to be a semi-famous child actor, and so there is some kind of looming scandal from when he was younger kind of surrounding him, and that's why he likes to keep a low profile.
That is a really bizarre aspect to just kind of like drop in.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it seems to come up so often that it's just like normal in these anime that there's like, oh, the one character that's a famous actor or model that's in the public school class. Yes.
So he's sort of a Corey Feldman.
A little bit, yeah, I would say. Maybe not, maybe if Corey Feldman's a 9, he's probably down by like a 4 or 5, if you know what I mean.
Oh, man. I wonder if they'll reveal his Haim.
Well, they revealed what one of the supporting characters is kind of this other child actress that he was, friends with and worked with a lot, that's kind of like the scandal, is that he invited her out to party when they were underage and made her take the blame for all the alcohol that he was buying.
Wow.
And so now the tension is that he has matured and feels that he basically owes it to her to be kind of like somewhat subservient. He's trying to socially repay this wrong that he did her, but in a very unhealthy way.
Huh. That's wow. I don't know what to make of that. That is very strange.
I would say watch it because it's a fun little show.
Okay, getting lots of good reviews too, so you're definitely not alone there. You're up on that bandwagon.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're enthusiastically up on that bandwagon. Okay, let's talk about one that I watched and you didn't. Well, you watched the first episode of Why Raeliana Ended Up at the Duke's Mansion.
Did we ever find out?
Now, I mean, it's weird that is the central question because...
Is this like a How I Met Your Mother situation? Like, does it not really matter after a while?
Well, the thing is, unlike I don't know anything about How I Met Your Mother, so I won't even go down that path. That might get me in trouble. But we by episode like 3, we understand why she's at the mansion. So maybe this is just this was posed playfully. It doesn't really make sense to me. This is a sort of shoujo isekai, which is definitely its own genre. There's like a very big market difference between this and like your standard fantasy isekai. One thing being that despite eventually succumbing to fantasy and ending up with like big monsters and magic and stuff later on, it begins basically as like Emily Bronte, Charlotte Bronte style, like comedy drama manners kind of thing, of upper class nitwits. Essentially.
Yeah, got a bit of a Pride and Prejudice thing going on.
Yes. There is definitely a Darcy, a piece of shit Darcy.
Oh yeah, and boy is he a piece of shit.
He's kind of, I mean, he's constantly framed as a piece of shit, but he doesn't really do anything that bad. He does like kill some ruffians at some point off screen, but they did try to murder his girl. So like, I don't know, it's it's hard.
Well, I mean, that just that happens.
Sometimes when you're living in a sort of like late 1800s aristocratic society, and somebody tries to get your girl, maybe you'll have him killed. I don't, I couldn't even.
Well, if you're rich, like just saying, if you're rich, there's a 100% chance that you can and have had someone killed at some point. So
yeah. Also, as it turns out, I didn't realize this at first. They probably did mention it. It sailed by me, but like, he is a prince. He's not just a duke. His big brother is the king.
Is that how it works? Is the brother of the king a prince?
Yeah, bro. What do you think? What do you think Prince Harry and Prince Charles are?
Well, I mean, they're brothers to each other, but they're also, they're the son of somebody, right?
Hey, somebody fucked that queen. Somebody must have. Frankly, I'm an American. I don't give a fuck about those British people. Fuck them. We fought a whole war about this shit because we thought they were lame. And frankly, the biggest problem with Raeliana for me is, unfortunately, I cannot turn the politics part off, and I hate these fucking upper-class nitwits. I hate them. I hate the way that it completely brushes off how insanely awful they treat like the underclass of this world, and how this girl who is killed in our world and wakes up as a character in this fantasy book, how she just does not give a fuck about all the people that like serve her, just does not think about their plight at all, doesn't care. She's way too wrapped up in this like, yeah, and frankly, I guess I can partner. Somebody is trying to kill her, so she is a little preoccupied with that. And then like falling in love with this hunky prince, of course. I mean, that's going to take up a lot of your attention as well. I think the drama for the most part is fine. It's okay if you like that kind of comedy of manners things. There's plenty of like cheesy romance. It's good. It's sort of a bodice stripper at some points. I think the main problem is this is a slideshow. There is not a lot of animation going on.
Oh
Raeliana.
no.
I don't know what happened with the budget, but man, there is like, we're talking about like double-digit frames in some of these episodes.
I was really ready to rip my bodice at that one, and then you tore that right out of me.
Yeah, I still had a good time watching it. I have to be honest. I did finish the whole thing, so like, it was fine. It's not very long, but yeah, there is like. There's a lot of characters standing still and talking away, facing away from the camera, that kind of thing.
Oh, I love that.
Not good. Not great.
Oh, boy. Well, I mentioned a recommendation list that I wasn't going to get into further. That was a lie. I'm going to take one big dip back into that and talk about something that we both watched, that we both loved. Big old helping of anime here in Tengoku Daimakyo.
Yes. Well, I wanted to save this for last because, frankly, at some point I was saying we could do like a ranking list. But Tengoku Daimakyo is so much better than every other premiere and, frankly, ongoing show and, frankly, most anime in general that It's not fair. It's not even fair.
Yeah, it really took me for a ride, and I'm not, I don't think I'm out of line in saying that this is, of the stuff that was on my spring lineup watch list, this is my number one by far.
Yeah.
I love this. It had some real beautiful animation, real cool concept. I am hooked on that. Definitely gonna dive right into the manga following my watch of this season. But why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Because I don't think that you've ever talked about it on this show before.
Oh yeah. I might not have ever actually talked about the plot. I'm sure I mentioned it. It doesn't really need a lot of exposition. I mean, it is a central mystery where we are flipping between two different sets of characters. One set of character are making a way across a sort of post-apocalyptic landscape, a sort of rebuilding landscape that is occasionally threatened by scary monsters. And these two characters are on a quest to find someone.
Scary monsters is one way to describe them. They are like some pretty horrific nightmare creatures that they are not shy showing devouring people in some pretty gruesome ways.
Yeah, there's some fucked up shit. And the other set of characters are sort of a group of very mysterious children with seemingly superhuman abilities. Who are in a sort of like Professor Xavier's School for Gifted Children situation.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a baby geniuses thing going on.
Yeah, except potentially like a little more nefarious. There's definitely a darkness to it. And the central mystery of like what is going on there, what's up with these children. And those two things interact with each other constantly. They're not separate stories. These things are intertwined in really interesting ways. And they are played against each other like brilliantly. These are really fun, interesting, complex, truly unique and bizarre characters on their own right. They find themselves in incredibly compelling scenarios, and this thing is animated to within an inch of its fucking life.
It's real fucking slick. I was not expecting some of the stuff in there.
This is the best looking show I've seen in a long, long time. And we've had some great looking shows in the last couple years.
Well, it's got some really gorgeous backdrops, some real beautiful hand-painted stuff, coupled with just a really fun style. I haven't read the manga, so I don't know exactly how diligently they translated the manga style to animation, but
they did a good job.
I assume they did a good job because it meshes well with the kind of fluid fast-paced, like fast to slow kind of style that they were doing with a lot of the action scenes in this.
Yeah. There is, speaking of slideshows, this is the polar opposite of Raeliana. This is the exact kind of thing that animation is built for. It is the beauty of fluid movement.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me a lot of what I liked about Cowboy Bebop when it was at its best.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of that in there, especially in the fight scenes, because probably the characters that we spend a little bit more time with overall are Maru and Kiriko, who are in kind of like the post-apocalyptic setting, where they are traveling between cities trying to find some mysterious characters from Kiriko's past, and Maru is trying to find a mysterious place called heaven, right? Not a literal heaven, but some destination heaven.
Some place. They're two searchers, and they are searching. That's pretty much all you need to know about them.
And Kiriko has a laser gun, and Maru is he's a Superboy. He's got like
he punches really hard.
He's got the kung fu powers. He can jump really high. He can run really fast. He's probably the fastest boy alive. So yeah, I really like those characters, and it raises a lot of interesting questions with the I'll say certain twists and directions it decides to take with characters and their development throughout the story.
Yes. I will say, compared to basically everything that we've talked about and everything that came out in this entire spring season, this is probably the only one that treats you like an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And tries to tell you like an adult story that has complications and open-ended questions about people and society. It is something that respects your intelligence and your time, and it rewards you for your patience and your attention. I mean, this is working on such a higher level than anime in general usually works on. That, for me, this is instant classic type shit. And it's a shame that like more people aren't talking about this being the obvious shining fucking beacon of anime hope that it is, that people are talking about.
Fucking Oshi no Ko over this is
Oshi
really
no
disappointing.
The new season of Demon Slayer, like, you guys, I know we are old people in the anime world at this point. We are old for anime watchers, and even among them, we have very particular tastes. But I'm begging you guys, raise your standards. I'm begging you. I want more Tengoku Daimakyos.
I absolutely want more. I just want to bring up one last thing about this. I love this. My obvious number one. Everyone should watch it. There was one issue I had with it that I think we should, mention, because I don't want to sound like we're engaging in it uncritically.
Sure.
It does have some pretty graphic and disturbing depictions of sexual assault near the end. Spoilers, people. Sorry. And I feel like maybe, hopefully, they are going to try and resolve that happening at some point later in the story, because they very quickly move past it by the end of the episode and do not talk about it at all.
It gets intense. I mean, yeah, if you want to throw out some, I guess, trigger warnings, yes, there's some hard stuff.
Yeah.
That goes on in Tengoku Daimakyo, but I would say it is never in the spirit of exploitation.
Well, no, that's not what I was trying to get at, but I just found it interesting that for a series to that point that displayed such an in-depth look into each character as like a person and exploring their different humanity and what it means to be a society and be a person in this new horrific monster-filled world, to say the least, while also being in like a society that's actively being rebuilt. For something that has put so much thought into characterization up to this point, to have the character who gets assaulted basically come away at the end of the episode with a big old smile on their face and like that sucks, but at least tomorrow's gonna be better. That I felt maybe deserved a little bit more of a consideration.
I think we are going to get a pretty rounded exploration of these kinds of themes.
Yeah.
Since I've read a lot of the manga,
it just felt rushed in the moment, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think reading the manga is extremely rewarding in that vein. I think you should get around to that and discover the answers for yourself.
Yeah. All right.
Is that it?
That was it. That was the spring wrap up.
Wow, that was a lot of anime. That we didn't even talk about like random shit that we watched, like piece by piece or around the fringes.
Nope.
That was shit we actually watched. That
was
crazy,
stuff that
man.
we devoted enough time to sit down and watch with our eyeballs.
Yeah, well, some of it.
I watched most of everything that I watched. That makes sense. Does to me.
I watched everything that I watched too. Okay, let's take a break. I gotta catch my breath.
Oh, ooh. God.
You can tell it is the summer season because I am sweating my ass off. Holy shit, it is hot.
Like any good anime fan, I am sitting in a hot room with my shirt off, sweating.
Yeah, just completely drenched. Very exciting time to be alive. 4 days in a row, we have broken heat records. Go us, go Earth, go humans. We are killing it. Absolutely smashing every record of the record book. Damn, we're good at this.
Hey, they still have anime in the ocean, right?
Hell yeah, dude. We
then I'm
anime
fine.
in outer space. We got aliens watching anime, dog.
Hell yeah.
That heat tells us that it is time for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2.
Jujutsu Kaisen, baby. Hell yeah.
It is finally hot enough that they are making more Jujutsu Kaisen. Season 2 has actually already started. I don't know, do you want to count the movie as part of Season 2, or is that just kind of an aperitif?
No. I think that, first of all, I haven't read the manga yet. You have. You've been keeping up with that. Do the characters from the movie, do they show up again at any point in the manga?
Yes, all of them.
Okay. Well, then, I don't think so. I would consider it a good stopgap between Season 1 and Season 2, especially since, as we're about to get into, Season 2 starts off with a flashback.
Yeah, what's interesting is that the movie is a flashback, basically a prequel.
And then we get a flashback.
And then we get a flashback to before that flashback, just to recontextualize everything yet again. So you already watched the first episode, right?
Yeah, it looked good.
Hell yeah. Now, I will say I was sitting next to a friend and constantly pointing and shouting, CGI, every time I saw CGI, and that became very annoying to her. But there was a couple instances of CGI, and it was reminiscent of what they were attempting on Chainsaw Man's Season 1. And I wonder if we're going to be getting a lot of CGI this season. I don't think it was particularly bad or invasive in a way that some other shows get real wacky with it. I think overall it looks great, but there definitely was those like weird CGI moments.
I didn't notice it so much,
it.
and it's no mystery how we feel about heavy use of CGI, improper use of CGI in anime.
I would prefer not to do it.
Yeah, not to do
That's
it.
my
Prefer not to
position.
do it. But I didn't notice it so much in that episode. It didn't bother me none. But maybe that's just because I was so excited to have Jujutsu Kaisen back.
Yeah, we get to spend a little more time with my boy Gojo.
Well, what I do find funny though is that it's been so long since we've seen the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen, like front and
Itadori?
center. Yeah, Itadori, like as the main character in the media.
Yeah,
I forgot his name just now.
He's Vessel Boy.
Yeah, but I don't know how often the chapters come out, and I haven't been reading the manga. So to me, I watched the first season of the anime, and then a long time nothing happened, and then the movie came out, which he wasn't in, and then a long time nothing happened, and now the season 2 is starting, and it starts with flashback to Gojo and whatever the villain's name is.
He's not a villain yet, okay?
I mean, he's the villain of the movie and the first season. We can call him a villain.
Sure. Now, I will say, I don't want to spoil anything, but would it surprise you to say that Itadori's role does gradually diminish a lot over the entirety of the story?
It wouldn't surprise me because it already feels like they're angling towards like that general vibe right now at the beginning of the story.
Yeah, it is an interesting choice to start here. I will say this is like not how the manga necessarily proceeds. They are playing a little bit around with it, which I thought was interesting, especially because they have so much material to get through. And they decide to kind of pull this shit. Very
Well,
weird.
manga's up to 200 something chapters, I think, at this point.
Oh, there is so much. Oh, you wouldn't even believe the shit.
I think just give me a number, like I'd probably believe it.
I don't even know. I'd have to look it up. But you know what? It's crazy. It feels like years have passed in the manga, and then recently a character is like, wow, everything's changed in the last 2 months. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Well, I think that is the issue with a lot of these running works, right? Is how do you preserve the flow of time when you have to keep stretching out the time frame for when things occur?
Oh, yeah. There's insane time dilation happening in Jujutsu Kaisen. And it's not helping that we are flashing back now over decades.
Well, and I swear that this is going to be the last time that I mention Kaguya, although it's definitely not.
Yeah, that's not true.
They do that a lot where it'll be like instances like, oh, and then 3 months pass. And then the next 80 chapters take place over the course of like 3 days.
Yeah, anyway, it's time to celebrate Christmas.
Yep.
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, we were just in spring, but all right.
Anyway, skipping ahead.
Yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen is great. I'm very, very excited. I am definitely absolutely satisfied by episode 1. I'm dying to watch episode 2, but I did promise to watch it with this friend. So let's move on. I don't know if you know anything about the girl I like forgot her glasses, but I actually thought, oh, this is one Nate's gonna like. He's gonna get suckered into this for sure.
I've heard the name. It sounds like it's about a girl who forgot her glasses.
It definitely is. It is 100% about a girl who forgot her glasses.
I am already in love with her.
She has one character trait, and that's being forgetful. So that's great. We're off to the races. Everybody loves a forgetful girl.
Yep. That is the classic endearing trait of not remembering stuff.
I love it. I think that's great. It makes somebody more relatable. I think honestly, I've read a few chapters of it a long time ago. I do think it is pretty cute. It's weird that they are making a whole anime out of it because the gag is really thin. The girl shows up to class.
Right.
She's forgot her glasses.
Oh no.
And the boy sitting next to her has to like help her read the textbook.
Oh, I thought maybe he would like help her hunt down whatever it is that she forgot.
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes she like pokes him in the eye because she can't see very well. She really does need those glasses.
Why doesn't she get contacts?
I don't know. Are contacts easy to get? I really don't know.
Yeah. You can buy them at the grocery store. I think they're fine to get.
maybe she has a really poor family, or maybe that's just something that doesn't come up in Japan. I couldn't tell you. But that's a thing that's happening. Now here's another interesting thing that's happening. We could just bounce through this, but Rurouni Kenshin reboot has started.
That is surprising to me. I'm really thinking about it. I'm really trying not to think about anything else, involving Rurouni Kenshin.
Let's not think about the big one.
Yeah.
Let's think about something else.
Don't think about that, but considering that allegedly.
Oh wait, not allegedly. That motherfucker went to jail.
oh yeah.
This is not alleged anymore.
So considering that is a thing that happened. I'm surprised that they are rebooting the show now, as opposed to maybe before he went to jail for doing that.
I am not so surprised because they did just make like 4 live-action movies, and they were all very popular.
I mean, yeah.
We have to take that into account.
Absolutely. That definitely plays a big role in it.
Yeah. We'll get to those movies when we're doing live-action
Well,
anime.
shit, those movies have been coming out, over the last, 15 years? I remember the first one had just come out, back when we were going to Fanime.
Wow. That's a long time ago.
I remember seeing the first live-action Rurouni Kenshin movie at Fanime in, 2011.
Yeah. Hey, don't date us.
Yo, sorry. I'm only 23 years old.
Yeah. I've actually been 23 for a few years now. Anyway, let's move on. There's another one coming up called Undead Murder Farce. Jeez. I don't know if we have mentioned this before, but I did read the first arc of Undead Murder Farce, and it is actually called Undead Girl Murder Farce, I believe, in the manga. So I'm not sure if that was a change they made, or if the site we're looking at has a typo, or whatever the fuck. But this is a really weird one, and I had a problem with the manga because this is essentially a murder mystery, a sort of anthology of murder mysteries type show about a genius detective. Except in this case, the genius detective happens to be an immortal woman who is just ahead in a birdcage, being carried around by her 2 mysterious, potentially unhuman servants. And she solves mysteries where, oh no, a werewolf got run over by a train, or that vampire, he looks like maybe he killed his wife, or, shit like that. I had a problem with this, just like I have a lot of problems with a lot of these manga detective stories, in that, one, they are overly obsessed with Sherlock Holmes, and it feels weird to say that because I am overly obsessed with Sherlock Holmes. I really love Sherlock Holmes. I think a lot of these stories fetishize him and his stories a little too much, and miss the point of a good murder mystery. At some point I would really like one of these mangas to obsess over I don't know, Hercule Poirot maybe, or I don't know, Maigret.
Oh man, a cool. Poirot manga or anime, that would be great.
I feel like every once in a while I see sort of a Poirot. What do we think about a Pink Panther anime?
Now I'm what is the policeman, the detective's name from Pink Panther?
Clouseau.
Yeah, Clouseau.
Inspector Clouseau.
I'm imagining him, and he's got the Pink Panther is kind of his stand ability.
Yeah.
Stand name, the Pink Panther.
Yeah. I love those movies. The originals. No offense to Steve Martin, but you didn't really land it. Sorry, buddy.
Oh.
Love those original movies though. Holy shit, they're still funny.
Now here's something that I don't think either of us have watched yet, but allegedly over at Anime Expo, the first episode of Dungeon Meshi was released. Do you know if that is out for consumer eyes yet? Because I would like to sink my teeth into that one.
No, it is not. It is not out, and it won't be out for a while.
Ouch.
Yes, unfortunately. We will get to it. Do not worry. I am so excited. Something that is out is Dark Gathering. And this is one that I was really intrigued by because this is this is one of those. Do you know gap moe? Are you familiar with this term?
No, not at all.
This is a thing that has been popular for a while. This is the gap moe phenomenon is when there is like a very big difference between like content and presentation. And so in Dark Gathering's case, the idea is that the characters are all drawn in kind of a very cutesy way, in definitely more of like a young anime viewer type way. But it's a horror anime, and the horror is really grotesque. So the gap moe is that, it's cutesy stuff with horrifying shit happening to them. And this is a thing that I am not opposed to. I love horror. We've talked about it a million times. I'm a big horror dude. I love bad things happening to people.
Lots of great horror manga. Surprisingly hard to come by horror anime, in my experience. I don't know. Maybe you have some recommendations later down the line.
Yeah, we should definitely do a dedicated horror episode at some point. I would really like to do that because I have some great shit. Dark Gathering, I really don't know much about it, except I watched a trailer with no dialogue, just weird shit. And the weird shit looked cool as hell, so I'm excited to watch that.
Oh man, you know what I'm excited to watch?
What?
Hyakusho Kizoku, the new anime based off of the biographical manga of artist Hiromu Arakawa, who did Full Metal Alchemist, and it's about her life growing up on a dairy farm.
Oh yes, we did mention this at some point. Yeah,
the anime just came out. First episode just came out a couple days ago. Haven't watched it yet, but very excited to check it out.
Yeah. Now I actually just learned that she had done a couple other manga that I had never heard about somehow.
She has done more than one manga set on a dairy farm. I'll leave it at that.
Did I ever tell you about that manga? It's a rom-com about a really horny girl who is trying to hide how horny she is, but she falls in love with a boy who has a horrible skin condition, in that whenever somebody make skin contact with him, they are compelled to blurt out the truth.
Oh, I thought that he was gonna have lesions or maybe like a goiter or something.
No, he looks perfectly normal, and that's what suckers a lot of people into accidentally touching him and blurting out embarrassing truths.
That's not a skin condition, that's a superpower.
It's not good for him, and he constantly has to deal with it. So I think it's more of a condition. Anyway, his entire fantasy is moving out of the city to become a dairy farmer. Just made me think of that.
Okay. Hey, you know what? A noble profession, the dairy farmers.
Yeah, he loves milking cows. He's really into that for some reason.
You know what I mean.
So we don't have to talk about it too much, but Helck is doing the thing. I am so excited for Helck. I love Helck. I am diving in as fast as fucking possible. Helck, I'm coming for you, baby. I am so excited. Watch Helck, please. I really want Helck to get enough anime that it actually completes.
Muscle guy with a tiny head. That's your thing?
Well, you'll see. You will see. Yeah, I'm sure you're going to be surprised, I assure you. Yeah, so that's kind of it. There were a couple of stragglers that just like the premise kind of sounded interesting, but I'm not really committed to. There's one called Gene of AI or Gene of I know Idenshi, maybe? I don't know. About a guy who does doctor shit to robots, basically. And I thought that was kind of funny. There's also one called Synduality. That just sounded weird.
I pronounce it Synduality.
Synduality. That's one about a post-apocalyptic world where basically the happening has happened.
Wait, the happening happened?
The happening has happened. It's already happened. Except the happening turns people into monsters or something. And you get it. A guy has to fight monsters.
By happenstance, a guy has to fight monsters after the happening has happened?
The happening has happened and a guy has to fight monsters during the post-happening apocalypse.
Okay.
Fine. That sounds fine. You know what? Compared to a lot of the other shit that's premiering, sounds honestly great.
I mean, it sounds better than The Happening.
That's kind of it. Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about The Masterful Cat is Depressed Again today because that's a really dumb name, and it kind of sounded funny. I think you really wanted to watch an episode of that, so I'll be interested to hear your report.
I was interested in that one. It's got a weird enough premise that I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Who doesn't love having a live-in servant pet?
I know I do.
Oh God, I can't.
Follow that one up.
I really wanted to say a joke. I cannot say the joke. Okay. Fuck.
All right. Is that it? Is that it for us?
That's it. I do want to say that Zom 100 is also starting, and at some point I do want to talk about big yikes type anime shit, and we will get to Zom 100 during that segment.
All right. I'm hearing a lot of buzz about it. I've got ears on the streets of Tokyo, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, shit is popping off. We will be getting to it, and as the season rolls along, I'm sure buzz is going to pick up, and we are going to talk about whatever stupid shit dumb people like. We'll get to it. In the meantime, holy shit. That was two things, two whole things.
I know.
Last season and next season.
We're caught up. We're relevant. That's the important part.
I'm so glad we're finally relevant. After 17 episodes, we have reached relevance.
It's true. We're working our way up.
That's what that means, right? We are relevant, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The people are on our side.
They're into it, right?
I mean, there are literally no other anime podcasts, so where else are they going to go?
Yeah, where else are you going to go? You got nowhere to go, sucker. You're just going to come crawling back.
Oh, God. Okay, let's stop embarrassing ourselves.
You want to stop doing the podcast?
Oh, no, I didn't mean, like, forever. Just for right now. Oh, you mean
just for right now. Okay,
yeah.
We'll be back to embarrass ourselves again next week when we do another embarrassing episode of Anime Death Spiral.
Bye.
That's not Rain Man. Tom Cruise was Rain Man. How many times do I have to tell you this? God damn it.